Let's get right into it. Number 10. The "I'm an exception" fallacy. Everyone knows that smoking kills, debt is bad, and texting while driving is a one-way ticket to a Darwin Award. But your brain, bless its delusional heart, convinced you that the rules of physics and biology don't apply to you specifically. This is optimism bias. You think, sure, other people get ruined by that, but I'm built different. Spoiler alert, you are not built different. Your internal organs are just as squishy, and your bank account is just as finite as everyone else's. You're playing Russian roulette with the universe and acting surprised when the chamber isn't empty. You aren't the main character with plot armor. You're a biological statistic waiting to happen. Number 9. The regret of the unlived life. At the end of the day, the thing that keeps people up at night on their deathbeds isn't the stuff they did wrong, it's the stuff they never did at all. This is the omission bias. We're wired to feel worse about taking a risk and failing than we are about playing it safe and missing out, even though the missing out part is what actually haunts us later. You're so worried about looking stupid or failing that you forget that existing isn't the same thing as living. You're essentially a spectator at your own funeral, watching a version of yourself that never took the leap, never said the words, and never left the harbor. The most dangerous lie you've ever been told is that you have plenty of time. You don't. Your biological clock isn't ticking, it's screaming. Stop waiting for a sign from the universe and just do the thing. Number 8. The identity cling. Some people make being a victim, being a cynic, or being a coffee addict their entire personality. Once your brain attaches an idea to your identity, it will defend that idea like a mother bear defending a cub, even if that idea is actively ruining your life. This is identity protective cognition. You'd rather stay miserable and right than change your mind and be happy, because changing your mind feels like your soul is being erased. You're essentially a prisoner of your own branding. You aren't just being real, you're just refusing to grow because your current self is too attached to its own baggage. Number 7. The venting paradox. You think that by screaming into a pillow or going on a 30-minute Twitter rant about your coworkers' breathing habits, you're letting off steam. Physics says steam needs a release valve. Psychology says you're just practicing being angry. This is the myth of catharsis. Research shows that venting actually reinforces the neural pathways of your frustration, making it easier to get triggered next time. You aren't emptying the tank, you're just revving the engine in neutral and wondering why the room smells like exhaust. By constantly revisiting the drama to get it out of your system, you're essentially taking your brain for a swim in a pool of cortisol and then complaining that you're wet. Number 6. The productivity porn addiction. There is a special circle of hell reserved for people who spend 6 hours watching videos about how to be productive instead of, being productive. It's called learning as a defense mechanism. Your brain gets a massive hit of "I'm doing it" dopamine just by planning to do the work. You've got the color-coded spreadsheets, the minimalist desk setup, and the noise-canceling headphones, but your actual output is a big fat zero. You're essentially masturbating your ego with the idea of success, while the actual work sits in the corner, crying. You aren't preparing, you're just procrastinating with a higher budget. Number 5. The health debt trap. You treat your body like a rental car that you're planning to return at the end of the week, forgetting that you're actually stuck with this specific model for the next 80 years. You skip the water, eat food that's more chemical than vegetable, and ignore that weird clicking noise your knee makes because you're too busy to deal with it. This is a classic case of hyperbolic discounting, valuing a cheap burger right now over a functional heart in 20 years. Your body is a biological machine with a very strict maintenance schedule, and you're currently trying to run it on high-fructose corn syrup and spite. By the time the check engine light stays on permanently, you've already caused structural damage that no amount of green juice can fix. You're not toughing it out, you're just sabotaging the only vehicle you have for experiencing the universe. Number 4. The sunk cost stranglehold. You've spent 3 years in a degree you hate, or 6 months dating someone who thinks live, laugh, love is a personality trait, and you figure, hey, I've already invested this much time, might as well go down with the ship. Stop. Your brain is falling for the sunk cost fallacy, a glitch in human logic that makes you keep pouring resources into a losing hand just because you already lost a few chips. It's like eating a burnt pizza just because you paid $12 for it. Now you're out $12 and you have heartburn. Your brain hates the idea of wasting the past, so it decides to waste your future as a consolation prize. Evolutionarily, we're terrified of loss, but in the modern world, this just means you stay at a soul-crushing job because you like the ergonomic chair. You aren't being loyal or persistent. You're just a hostage to your own previous bad decisions. Number 3. The I'll do it tomorrow delusion. Some people treat their future self like a mythical Greek god, capable of infinite labor and zero fatigue. You leave the dishes, the taxes, and that weird mole for future you to deal with, as if that person is going to be any less of a procrastinating disaster than current you. In psychology, this is known as temporal discounting, where your brain views your future self as a complete stranger. You're essentially mugging a guy you haven't met yet, and then acting surprised when you eventually wake up and realize you are that guy. Your brain is wired to prioritize the immediate hit of dopamine from watching a 3-hour documentary on competitive cheese rolling rather than doing the boring work that actually improves your life. You're not waiting for inspiration. You're just trapped in a biological loop of lying to yourself. It's a beautiful, self-destructive cycle of optimism where the only prize is a mountain of laundry and a looming sense of regret. Number 2. The comparison trap. Imagine walking into a gallery where everyone is showing off their polished, high-definition masterpieces, and you're standing in the corner holding a damp, unfinished sketch on a napkin. That's what happens when you compare your behind-the-scenes footage to everyone else's highlight reel. Thanks to the better-than-average effect, your brain is constantly running a background program that measures your worth against a curated, filtered version of reality that doesn't actually exist. You're essentially competing in a race against a ghost. You see someone's vacation photos and suddenly your perfectly fine apartment feels like a medieval dungeon. It's a specialized form of self-torture, where you use someone else's success as a stick to beat yourself with. Mathematically, there will always be someone younger, richer, or better at folding fitted sheets than you. If your happiness is tied to being at the top of a fake leaderboard, you're basically signed up for a lifetime subscription to misery. Number 1. The myth of busyness. Some people wear stress like a designer tuxedo, acting as if having a calendar that looks like a game of Tetris played by a drunk person is a sign of importance. In reality, being busy is often just a high-functioning form of avoidance. It's called active procrastination, filling your day with low-stakes busy work so you don't have to face the terrifying high-stakes tasks that actually matter. Your nervous system is constantly stuck in fight-or-flight mode because you've convinced yourself that answering an email at 10 in the evening is a life-or-death situation. You're running a marathon on a treadmill, you're exhausted, sweating, and absolutely nowhere. Your brain needs white space to actually synthesize information and, be creative. But you're too busy checking notifications to notice that your life is passing you by in a blur of blue light and mild dehydration. You aren't a machine, you're a biological organism that's currently overheating. Creepy body signals people ignore too often. Number 18. The Formication Sensation. Imagine the feeling of 1,000 tiny ants crawling under your skin, but when you look down, your arms are perfectly clear. This isn't a scene from a mummy movie. It's called formication. It's a specific type of paresthesia that can be triggered by anything from vitamin B12 deficiency to your nervous system overreacting to stress. Your tactile nerves are essentially misfiring and sending movement signals to your brain because they've forgotten what sitting still feels like. It's your body's way of being a drama queen instead of just saying, "I'm tired." It tells your brain you're being invaded by an invisible insect army. Number 17. The ice cream headache. You're 3 scoops deep into a chocolate sundae when suddenly, it feels like an ice pick has been driven directly through your forehead. We call it brain freeze, but the medical world calls it sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia, which is just a fancy way of saying your face is confused. When something freezing hits the roof of your mouth, your capillaries dilate and constrict in a frantic, rhythmic panic to keep your brain warm. Your pain receptors get their signals crossed and decide that since the roof of your mouth is cold, your entire forehead must be dying. It's a classic case of referred pain. Your body is basically a bad intern who sends an emergency memo to the wrong department. Your brain isn't actually freezing. It's just throwing a localized tantrum because you didn't pace yourself with the gelato. Number 16. The night sweats. We've all woken up a little warm, but waking up so drenched that you could technically be classified as a swamp creature is your body's way of hitting the SOS button. Unless your room is a literal sauna, night sweats are often a sign that your internal thermostat, the hypothalamus, is getting mixed signals. Your body might be fighting an infection you don't know about yet, or your hormones are doing a chaotic floor routine. It's essentially your cooling system going into overdrive because it thinks there's a massive internal fire, even if you're just dreaming about kittens. Your body isn't just sweating, it's trying to drown a problem it doesn't know how to fix yet. Number 15. The white fingernail lines. If you notice horizontal white bands across your nails that don't grow out with the nail itself, you're looking at Miyurki's lines. Unlike the little white spots you get from slamming your finger in a door, these lines stay in the same place while the nail moves over them. This is your body's way of telling you that your protein levels are tanking or your kidneys are struggling to keep up with the workload. Your nails are basically the status bar of your health, and these lines are a low battery notification for your entire system. Your body has decided that keeping your fingernails looking pretty is a luxury it can no longer afford because it's too busy trying to keep the lights on elsewhere. Number 14. The hiccup that won't quit. Usually, hiccups are just a hilarious punishment for eating a dry sandwich too fast, but if you've been hicking for 48 hours straight, your body is screaming for help. A hiccup is just a spasm of your diaphragm, the muscle that helps you breathe, but that muscle is controlled by the phrenic and vagus nerves. When those nerves get irritated by something dark and mysterious, like a tumor or a central nervous system issue, they start glitching out. It's like a scratched CD that keeps skipping on the same annoying beat. While most people recommend scaring you or making you drink water upside down like a circus performer, chronic hiccups are actually your body's way of saying the internal wiring is under attack. Your diaphragm isn't just annoying you, it's acting as a biological alarm bell for your chest and throat. Number 13. The eyelid twitch. You're in the middle of a serious conversation when your left eyelid starts dancing like it's 3 a.m. at a rave. It's subtle enough that nobody else notices, but to you, it feels like a tectonic plate shift. This is myokemia, and it's basically your body's way of saying, I am physically exhausted by your life choices. It's a tiny, involuntary muscle spasm triggered by the unholy trinity of caffeine, stress, and a lack of sleep. Your nerves are so fried they've started firing off random electrical signals just for the hell of it. It's not a stroke. It's just your face trying to tell you that the 4th espresso was a mistake, and you should probably look at a tree instead of a spreadsheet for 5 minutes. Your eye is literally winking at your bad habits. Number 12. The sudden meat allergy. One day you're enjoying a burger, and the next, your body decides that steak is biohazardous waste. If you've been bitten by the Lone Star tick, you might develop alpha-gal syndrome. This tiny arachnid hijacks your immune system and rewires it to treat red meat like a deadly pathogen. Suddenly, your midnight taco run ends in hives or worse because your white blood cells think a cow is an invading army. It's the ultimate biological irony. A bug turned you into an involuntary vegetarian. Your body isn't just being picky. It's rewritten its entire defensive manual because of one hitchhiking parasite. Essentially, your immune system has gone rogue and decided to enforce a lifestyle change you never asked for. Number 11. The pulsatile tinnitus. Most people have experienced a faint ringing in their ears after a loud concert, but imagine hearing a rhythmic whoosh whoosh that perfectly matches the beat of your own heart. It's like having a tiny, fleshy drummer living in your ear canal. This is pulsatile tinnitus, and unlike the regular version, this isn't just your ears being annoyed, it's the sound of your blood actually rushing through your vessels. Your auditory nerves have become so hypersensitive, or the pressure in your head has changed so much, that you've gained the unwanted superpower of hearing your own plumbing. It's a sign that your circulation is getting a bit too loud for its own good, reminding you that you're essentially just a high-pressure garden hose wrapped in skin. Number 10. The Hypnic Jerk. You've finally fallen asleep, dreaming about flying or maybe just winning a very long argument, when your entire body suddenly twitches with the force of 1,000 volts. You wake up gasping, convinced you just fell off a cliff. This is the Hypnic Jerk, a phenomenon where your brain misinterprets your muscles relaxing as you falling out of a tree. Back in our evolutionary infancy, falling out of a tree meant becoming a leopard's midnight snack, so your brain developed a save-yourself reflex. Even though you're safely tucked into a memory foam mattress, your primitive lizard brain panics and sends a massive electrical jolt to your limbs to catch you. It's essentially your nervous system rebooting because it didn't trust the landing. Number 9. The halo effect. If you start seeing glowing rings around every street lamp or halos around bright lights, don't worry, you haven't suddenly become a saint. This is often a signal that the pressure inside your eye is spiking, a classic symptom of glaucoma. Your cornea is swelling and refracting light in ways it shouldn't, turning every light bulb into a blurry, angelic orb. It's a creepy, beautiful warning that your optic nerve is being squeezed like a tube of toothpaste. Your brain is trying to process the visual data, but because the hardware is malfunctioning, it adds a cinematic lens flare to your reality. If your vision starts looking like a low-budget the 80s music video, your eyes are literally begging you to go see a professional before the lights go out for good. Number 8. The metallic taste. Unless you've been chewing on a handful of loose change, having a metallic taste in your mouth, often called pine nut syndrome or metal mouth, is your body's way of saying something is chemically off. It could be a side effect of a new medication, or it could be your body's bizarre reaction to a specific type of pine nut that messes with your taste buds for weeks. In more serious cases, it's a sign of a sinus infection or even kidney issues. Your tongue is a sensitive chemical sensor, and when it starts tasting a copper penny that isn't there, it's usually because your internal chemistry is leaking into your saliva. It's like your body is trying to send you a telegram in Morse code, but the only letters it knows are iron and steel. Number 7. The impending doom feeling. Usually, feeling like the world is about to end is just a side effect of checking your bank account or watching the news, but sometimes, your body sends a sense of impending doom that is a legitimate medical red flag. We aren't talking about general anxiety here, we're talking about a sudden, soul-crushing certainty that you are about to exit stage left. This often happens right before a seizure, a heart attack, or an allergic reaction to a jellyfish sting. Your internal hardware knows something is catastrophically wrong before your conscious mind can find the words for it. It's like your nervous system is a glitchy smoke detector that's finally screaming because there's an actual fire in the kitchen. If you're suddenly convinced the Reaper is standing behind you with a clipboard, don't just breathe through it. Your body might be trying to give you a very loud, very final heads up. Number 6. The persistent garlic breath. You haven't eaten Italian food in 3 days. You've brushed your teeth until your gums bled, and yet you still smell like a vampire's worst nightmare. If a metallic, garlic-like scent is radiating from your breath or your skin, your body might be trying to tell you that you've been exposed to something toxic, like selenium or even arsenic. Your liver and lungs are so desperate to get rid of the chemical intruder that they're literally off-gassing the problem through your pores. It's the ultimate biological smoke signal. Your body isn't just failing a breathalyzer test for flavor. It's desperately trying to detoxify itself by turning you into a walking, talking clove of garlic. If your scent is scaring off the neighbors, your internal filter might be at its breaking point. Number 5. The geographic tongue. You wake up, look in the mirror, and realize your tongue looks like a topographical map of Middle Earth. There are weird, smooth red patches with white borders that seem to migrate around like they're looking for a better neighborhood. This is benign migratory glossitis, or geographic tongue. Your taste buds are essentially going through a localized midlife crisis and shedding their top layer in random patterns. While it looks like you've contracted an alien virus, it's often just your body's over-the-top reaction to stress, allergies, or even just eating too many sour gummy worms. Your tongue isn't actually melting. It's just redecorating. But it's a clear signal that your system is a little too frazzled to maintain a consistent paint job. Number 4. The Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Sometimes, you'll be sitting in your room and suddenly feel like the door is 3 miles away, or your hands look like they belong to a giant. This isn't a drug trip. It's a real neurological glitch, often linked to migraines or certain viruses. Your brain's parietal lobe, the part that handles spatial perception, basically stops doing its job and starts guessing. It's like your internal GPS lost its satellite connection and decided to fill in the gaps with funhouse mirror logic. You aren't actually shrinking or growing, but your brain is currently a very confused director who forgot how to scale the computer-generated imagery. It's a creepy reminder that your reality is just a shaky interpretation by a bunch of electricity-soaked meat. Number 3. The exploding knee. You're just walking down a hallway, not even doing anything athletic, when your knee makes a sound like a dry branch snapping in a horror movie. It's loud enough to make people turn around and look for a fallen bookshelf, but you feel zero pain. This painless popping is often just gas bubbles bursting in your synovial fluid, but if it comes with a weird sensation of instability, your body is essentially telling you that your joint's suspension system is held together by hopes and dreams. Your cartilage is basically filing a formal complaint about your posture and the fact that you haven't stretched since the Obama administration. It's the skeletal equivalent of a check engine light that you're definitely going to ignore until the wheel falls off. Number 2. The sudden smell of burnt toast. If you're sitting on your couch and suddenly get a whiff of a bakery fire, but you don't even own a toaster, your brain might be having a short circuit. This is phantosmia, an olfactory hallucination. While it sounds like a quirky superpower, it's often your brain's way of reacting to a migraine, a head injury, or a rogue electrical storm in your temporal lobe. Your nose isn't actually smelling anything. Your brain is just bored and decided to invent a disaster. It's essentially your gray matter pulling a fire drill for a fire that doesn't exist, just to see if you're still paying attention. If the toast smells like chemicals or rotting garbage, your neurons are basically trolling you at a professional level. Number 1. The Rice Krispie neck. You turn your head to look at a bird, and your neck sounds like a bowl of cereal snap, crackle, and pop. This is crepitus, and while it's usually just air bubbles, it can also be the sound of your tendons snapping over bony protrusions like a rubber band on a jagged rock. Your body is basically telling you that your neck has the structural integrity of a bag of chips. It's a subtle hint that your tech neck, from staring at your phone for 8 hours a day, has turned your cervical spine into a crunchy mess. Your neck isn't just making noise. It's performing a tiny, percussive concert to remind you that you aren't made of rubber. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.